Yes, so good, man. My weight has been the best it's ever been. Training's been insane, so I'm feeling good.
Okay, fantastic, man. It was a bit of a short notice, eh?
Oh, it's been coming for a while now. It's just been, it was the main card was short notice, but
Yeah.
I've been wanting to obviously plan this fighting in April now, and then wanting to fight in June in Durban again. But I wanted to fight Cape Town and Durban this year for sure.
Okay, sweet. Durban, obviously, that's like your home base, eh? Where you're originally from.
Yeah,
Okay, okay. Because you now you at PFA now, eh?
yeah. So I had my own gym down in Durbs, and I was training people, and I had like a good business set up there. But just wasn't getting the results for my fighting and stuff. So I just decided to sell up everything and put 100% into the fighting and see if I can give it a go while I'm still young, man.
Okay, fantastic. And then, like, just give us some insight, man. What I always like to do with a lot of the fighters is there's like the backstory to where you are now. You're obviously part of a family that's got a long history in martial arts and mixed martial arts. So just give us an indication of when that all started for you and how that all started.
So when I was about like 8 or 9 years old, I started kickboxing with my dad. He was a black belt at Shuriken in Durban, and he had his own gym and stuff. So naturally, I was pushed into that environment as well. And then by 12, I had my kickboxing black belt, and then from there moved on to training MMA. I had my first amateur MMA fight when I was about 15, and they didn't have any age categories and stuff like that. So I was 15 fighting against adults and stuff like that. And then I ran a 14 fight win streak as an amateur, I think. And
Jeez.
then and kickboxing fights. Yes, I had so many kickboxing fights growing up as well. I think I had like 72 with like 64 wins or something like that
Yeah.
as an amateur junior kickboxer, and then fighting MMA. And then I had my professional debut at EFC straight out of high school. Yeah, I was at 19.
But it was like 2014, somewhere around there. Is that right?
Yeah, so I it was like I just turned 19 and I was fighting. I couldn't even celebrate my birthday because I was weight cutting.
Chaos, chaos. Um, just to touch on that, first thing, so you were a black belt at 12 years old. Is that like a legitimate thing, or how did that work out?
Yeah, so I would do the gradings like I do, what's it, yellow, orange, green, blue, purple, brown, brown, and then black belt after that. And yeah, it was like a grueling grading. I mean, for a 12-year-old, I think it was like 2 hours of fitness and then 10 rounds of sparring with all the fresh black belts kicking the shit out of me.
Awesome, man. And then just to touch on your amateur career, you said that you went on about a 14 fight win streak and had quite a long amateur career. Obviously, you were still very young. I believe across your amateur career, names like Quade Allen, Martin De Beer, Riyad Pandy, a lot of familiar names that guys will know. So, do you think, like, obviously a guy who had a long amateur career and a long kickboxing career as a youngster, how do you think that affects careers? Because we see a lot of the narrative these days that guys' amateur careers are getting cut quite short and getting thrown into the pro circuit quite early. So, from a guy who had a long amateur career, what do you think are the pros and cons of that?
Look, I think stay as amateur, I mean, for as long as you can. I mean, I'm too many guys are trying to get in as quick as they can to make the cash. But I mean, the way I've been looking at myself is I really only, in my mind, have started my professional career on my last fight. I mean, I wish I'd taken the time and learned like and matured and stuff like that. I mean, it was a long career, but for me, still, all of my fights were like first round. I think I've only gone into the second round once in my professional and my amateur career. So I mean, taking the time to learn your just to get yourself to get to know yourself better as a fighter. Just take your time, man. Sure,
Sure, yeah, 100%.
because you don't take it seriously. I mean, I didn't take it seriously up until now. It was like, yeah, I'll fight and throw myself in there just because of just pure determination and like flipping sheer will. I ended up winning. But as an amateur, learn as much as you can, and then go pro.
Okay, some sound advice that. Yeah. So do you think there's like a to some extent a bit of maturation that has to happen? Obviously, like I mean, you said you were fighting straight out of high school, while all your mates were hitting the town and carrying on. Do you think that there has to be some sort of like age generation, like you've got to get on in years to realize these sort of things?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, my last loss when I was fighting in Durban, I think I was like drooling and partying up 2 weeks before my fight even.
John Jonesing
Wasn't
it, eh?
taking it seriously. That's why I didn't make weight. I didn't train properly. I was out of shape, and you need to have that maturity to take it seriously as well. I mean, if it's what you want to do, then you do it, and you put 100% in. But it's not something that you can do half-heartedly. Hey, you get hurt, you get injured, or you lose.
Yeah, 100%, man. It's not like a game of club rugby or something like that. You got to be
No,
all in on.
definitely not.
And that's funny enough. That's how I explain it sometimes to people, is that there's like a cordon of pro fighters who kind of approach MMA like pro rugby, or club rugby, just like a thing they do on a Saturday, and
No, exactly.
unfortunately the sport's going to leave you behind if that's where it is. But I mean, like on reflection on your career, your professional career. Most of the losses are to big names, you know what I mean? Like Iga Cabeza, who's probably pound for pound one of the greatest the EFC's ever seen. Cole Henning, who's started as this massive upcoming youngster. Well, we don't know where he is now. And then Anisat Kanyeba, which you mentioned, which was a bit of a glitch, if I can put it like that way, because I think a lot of guys would have counted Anisat out in that fight. You would have had too many skills, too much knowledge on the ground, that sort of thing. So you said you were kind of like not taking it serious at that time. Do you have like regrets about that fight, or do you think that sort of loss kind of steered your ship in the right direction?
No, that fight was the reason why I decided to take this more seriously. Like this is my biggest regret. I really, so bad. I can't tell you how many times I've asked Graham for that rematch, because I know, even with the skill sets I had then, if I just had the cardio back then, I would have beaten him. But now,
sure,
I am like 10 times the fighter I've ever been. My fitness is there. My ground is 100 times better. My stand-up is 1,000 times better. It's my biggest regret, and I'm embarrassed almost about that.
Yeah, sure, man. But at least it's been a driving tool to get you going, So I suppose.
No, for sure. It's like lit a fire in my belly, for sure.
Sure. And then just talk us through the move to Cape Town. Obviously, your dad is like very well known in the MMA scene back in Durbs, and so are you. Your family's obviously quite famous on the MMA scene in Durban. What spurred the move to Cape Town, and what's that been like?
I had a look, and I was like, okay, if I want to stay in Durban, I'm going to have to train in 3-4 different places. And I lived in Hillcrest. It's quite far from everywhere as well. And I was like, but life was too easy for me in Durban as well. Like I was living, like that's why I got so fat and out of shape. It was too easy for me there. And I spoke to my dad, and he's like, look, you're going to have a support structure in Cape Town. You'll have your family there. Sell up everything for a few months. We'll help you out and whatever. And sure, that's when I met Mikey, and I started training PSA, and he's really taken me on. I mean, I'm living opposite the road from the gym. I walk across the road to the gym. I train full time now. Like I have a few clients in between, but I get to train 3, 4, sometimes 5 times a day, getting in everything up. And the jiu-jitsu here is insane. Mikey's got such good hands as well. I'm really learning a lot, like every day. Like in Durban, I worried about making weight. That was the hardest part for me, is making the weight.
Sure.
Like I'm walking around 77 kgs now. I'm going to do like the smallest cut of my life, and I can really focus on just learning more than actually losing weight,
Sure. With you, man. Okay, fantastic. So it's been a nice, smooth transition. And was Cape Town like an obvious choice? Like you just, obviously there would have been other options to go. And how did Cape Town become the first choice?
I looked at Joburg and the gyms in Joburg, and it just didn't seem to realistic enough for me. Like I don't have like wealthy family to help support me and stuff. I just had what I had, and I packed up my car, drove to Cape Town. But I looked at Joburg, and I looked at the guys in Durban, and I obviously weighed up all my options and stuff, and then Cape Town seemed like the best option.
Okay, fantastic, man. Obviously, we're now looking at EFC 78 coming up in your new adopted hometown of Cape Town. Rodrique Kena. So just talk us through, man, like what's the campaign base like? Obviously, you're still relatively new at PFA in terms of like a fighting career. So has there been specific things that you guys have worked on your weaknesses that you've had to change and pay attention to, or has it kind of just been the usual story?
We just not focusing on any particular fight more than just focusing on making me the best fighter I can be, The jiu-jitsu here is really good. I'm training with Brazilian jiu-jitsu black belt that's got his black belt in Brazil, so it's like proper quality ground game here. So that's definitely
Brandon Hoffman.
Yes.
Yeah, shout out to that guy.
He's really so good. And I've been working with him every single morning. Him and I are on the mat working together, and then every single evening I'm on the pads with Mikey, who's getting my hands and like kicking up to scratch. I'm sparring with the light heavyweight boxing African champion and South African champion Nick Bradley as well. So I'm getting my face smashed tonight as well. And training with in Durban, like I was the big fish in a little pond. Coming here really opened my eyes to the type of talent that we actually have around here, and how cuck I really was.
Fantastic, man. That's great. So obviously you've been slotted into the main card like reasonably late notice. There was obviously a couple of changes to the card and so on. Does that change anything mentally, physically? Like do you feel like you have to step it up, or is it the same sort of procedure?
For me, it's exactly the same. This will be, I think, my fourth main card fight, and this will be my 9th fight. So pretty much almost half of my fights have been main card then. So it doesn't really make a difference to me. Just that there'll be more people watching and it'll just be a little bit more exciting.
100%. Just about that, you mentioned there'll be more people watching. It's a question I've been asking a couple of guys lately. Obviously, we're in this new era with super sport and the broadcast deals all over the world and through Europe and high up through Africa. So the likelihood of there being people that have never really seen you fight before is quite imminent. So what would you say to those people, what they can expect from you in terms of a fight style?
I'm going to come out aggressive. I'm going to press forward, and I'm looking. I just want to be freaking violent and show people everything that I've learned there.
100%, man. Fantastic.
At the same time, keep that level of sportsman. I've been just watching all this nonsense on social media about people tuning each other and stuff, and then I really look at something like ONE FC, and I really want to try emulate that kind of true martial artist experience that they also try bring out. Like people pushing each other and acting like they're in the zoo and the press conferences and stuff like that. It just makes me laugh.
Yeah, no, it is a strange situation, and that is quite a cool thing, like ONE FC really trying to get that martial arts, the basis of the sport back, and I think we are slowly digressing back to that. We guys are focusing a little bit more on being the best martial artists that they can, and a guy like yourself who's been in martial arts almost their entire life, we'd expect that from you to be the martial artist. Even maybe some of us might expect you to walk out in a gi, like something crazy like that. And then what I want to ask you, Saxon, just getting close to the end here, what are your aspirations for MMA? Like, where do you see yourself going, and what are your goals?
All the way to the top, man. I've put all my eggs into this basket, and I'm going to give it my 100% until my body gives up.
Fantastic, man. And do you dream of overseas promotions and things like that?
For sure. I think it's definitely something that I'm looking at, and I just need to put in the time and get my record where it needs to be and get my wins up. And I think it's definitely something there. I mean, Mikey's definitely got some connections that he can hook me up with, and we'll get there eventually. I'm just, for now, focusing on one fight at a time, and then I know it'll happen.
Fantastic, man. Good to hear. Anyways, bro, just in closing, if you had one opportunity to send a message to your opponent, Rodrique Kena, what would that be?
Just good luck. I hope he comes in healthy and strong, and I hope he has a good cut. It's going to be a good fight.
Spectacular, man. That's EFC 78. That's coming up on the weekend. It's the 13th. Is that the date? 13th of April. Yeah. On the main card, nice and exciting one. Glad to see you on the main card. I felt prelims was maybe a little bit of injustice to a guy like yourself, especially being a fan favorite almost in your adopted hometown, Cape Town, man. It's going to be a massively exciting night, and we wish you all the best with the rest, man. Weight cut, a little bit keeping your weight down, and enjoy the last few days of the camp, man.
Sure, thanks, dude.
Thanks so much for your time, Saxon. We'll catch you soon and chat to you soon, and good luck, man.
Cool, thank you so much, man.
Thank you. Cheers, brother. We're out. Ciao, man.
Cheers. Bye.